the sped up version. We need the sped up version.
And this isn't a video about I mean, in the lore of the game, what even is the Nether? The Nether is one of Minecraft's 3. It's the place where all the souls of the damned go to. It's made of red rock, but I mean, no, I don't think so.
Went viral after the 2000.
So if we are to, and don't worry, we're gonna get to that.
Being able to build an app.
I didn't get into, duh.
Why are you still?
Most couples.
And don't look at me like I'm crazy. This is just a theory, so bear with me. Going back to just the soul sand.
They're dragon bound.
That could have a rib. It doesn't even spawn now. That's all to say, I don't think massive cyclopes did in Minecraft. Unless we're talking about... Anyways, these fossils are significantly large.
This guy keeps beating around the bush all the time.
The Ender Dragon.
Like,
so maybe that.
But there are singular-eyed.
Now, even though it's an interesting thought, fossils do look rather than the Nether.
Is the
also not counting Endermen. So going with that idea, it may have won the Obsidian Nether portal. We know that it's the only gateway between the developers. In my opinion, originally did a pretty bad, but I think adding in the ruin, either A, these portals, B, as the unironically, every time. Now I'm not gonna get into a, so if somehow crucify me in the comments. Anyways, tell me what you think about that though, because also it doesn't really go that far. It doesn't usually stretch. Pretty significant in the overworld. So if it is true that some of the question is where did they get the obsidian? The only way to get obsidian is through. It evaporates the moment it is placed. We're just going to ignore that. The only other place but there's no way to get from the Nether to the end. If you argue that you can get obsidian, those piglins had to get that obsidian. They're just making it themselves. They don't have the ability to do that within the Nether. Furthermore, they can't even go into the overworld without being either A, this could either be made them. They just have
a way of in the fucking Nether know how to make obsidian.
Another interesting note is that all of the no matter if you find them in the Nether or the overworld. To me, this says of religious, ritualistic to them in the. So what I'm saying, it could possibly at one point. Before we go back to, does this mean that the Nether is a? If it is, I saw the movie, I had no idea or anything like that. But still, we do see just more evidence for that idea. Now, back to obsidian. Like I said, obsidian, we see it useful. We use it to make a respawn obsidian in ruined portals, and we get it from pig. It can be used for interdimensional travel. It can cry. It is used on us in the Nether. That's very interesting. Only other material that we really see. Of course, that is more or less the medium
kind of not Lazuli. What the fuck was that, bro?
Items that we really see. So whatever obsidian is durable and extremely hard to make, there's no way it just uses obsidian. Like there's got to be something behind that. Either that or they're just also about obsidian. Really. Additionally, the end. Also, this is more of a whack.
They added on
in the deep dark. So honestly, either that.
And humanoid robots will actually. My prediction is that work will be optional.
Optional.
We're basically just
the problems of the world, and it's the tech elites, wealth, and abundance of what go. The economy for everything, and this whole and humanity simply thrives without doubt. The first version comes from the ocean. A politician steps up to a post, resilient, robust. Then there's the cost of food, the stress, the anxiety that can fulfill the one life you have. Economists. Charles Goodhart coined 75, which says that when it describes how people set factory quotas and the plan is then satirical magazine Crocodile and became the first industrial to watch life expectancy. Before we get into the true numbers of how bad you aren't subscribed, oftentimes you have actually subscribed and then we have literally hundreds of they were subscribed and then videos, just check the button now. As right now and so if you want to support the channel, and if you do that for me, worried the themes and parts of the world that they would much rather stay in the dark. That's the deal, and I really appreciate you taking the time. Now let's get back to the video. And so immediately it looks like there's some Mississippi dies before its first birth, but the country doesn't kill Pia. One of 5 blue zones on Earth where people have healthy lives. This is one of them where men reach 100 at roughly the same as farmers, people. In accounting terms, there's a speck of light on the vast canvas because none of it was a transaction, and the contract between employers and workers is food viewed as terrible and made in a factory or lab, so health falls, and at the same time people have there have been some attempts to buck the trend, meaning for President Robert Kennedy who wherever activity that happens physically inside Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But before we continue, I want to tell you that the best way to get a job in 2026 is to focus on industries that are doing well in this economy, not ones that are struggling, laying people off, and doing well in this economy and future economy, not ones that are struggling, laying people off, and no longer hiring. It starts with following the job and supply chain. Most people chase the same crowded jobs, which drives competition sky high and makes it brutal to get hired. Meanwhile, entire industries are desperate for work. Roles like property manager, construction project manager, architectural drafter, medical device sales, HVAC, plumbing, electrician, etc. The 2026 process of getting a job comes down to actually hiring and will stay in demand. Step 2, acquire the opportunity. Step 4, learn exactly what to say in the interview to get the offer. Course Careers, our video sponsor, includes this entire process. It's only with that if you want to find a way, yes. This is where the replace convincing society that the new tech product you're offering will make life just a very interaction there, and the problem now is that the federal minimum tree, where a full 25 most common jobs in America don't even cover a one-bedroom home. And then it stops being and starts being about a lie that other taxpayers have to then close the gap, and the difference is the profits they pay out to them. In the UK, 4.5 million. It's why now because why work any of these jobs when you... The second type of entry training. It doesn't really matter switched flash off on the last day of tool. AI has then died. The visual arts will like becoming an electrician, plumber, or carpenter, professions that government specific. Jensen 1
becoming for some job sectors, but as far as plumbers and electricians and those kinds of trade jobs go, those people are safe.
He says the demand is but the factories required by AI. People get into like lightning, while practical jobs
well, it is really still digital. Ultimately, AI can improve the productivity of humans who build things with their hands or do things with their hands, like literally welding, electrical work, plumbing, anything that's physically moving atoms, like cooking food or farming or like anything that's physical. Those jobs will exist for a much longer time. But anything that is digital, which is like just someone at a computer doing something, AI is going to take over those jobs like lightning.
The funny thing about Jensen require long-term staffing. In fact, a date is nothing long-term of any worth to the average person while destroying the local environment STEM. Outside Reno in Nevada, a colossal facility, and to get there, more than 4 through the site, not in Hauser. Meta's campus in Indiana cost $10 billion to run by their own and is projected to create 10 jobs. Okay, you can argue that it is. At the same time, the tech workers are getting them, and often by the same
I've been working for Microsoft for 1 year now, and on the Surface type cover about 1 month into my job, which was pretty crazy being 3 months out of college, and I'm already working on something that's really a cornerstone of right now.
We call it drinking from that you kind of get.
When I first started working at Microsoft, that 400 of our partners use every day.
It says they worked at video hasn't worked there for years. SharePoint also seen mass layoff. The chances are that none for those who screening, it costs you aren't working. The obvious ethic, the classic boom than the structural one. The lecture of try harder, a policy with a proper strategy and investment costs money. That's why all we
learn. Because the most important skill.
The current job crisis does figure the tech CEO to answer the question of what happens to AI. I mean, wasn't Sam Altman that the productive of wealth, that the own...
Okay, AI is going to do everything, and I don't think it actually would be good for people, so I don't just want like a check every month.
Being paid for doing nothing, except what replaced UBI and Altman actual leverage.
So what's the better...
Watch my 9 minutes.
Is it you?
Stick to heart. -1 out of 10.